Hello, this is teacher Sara from phuketpals. Welcome to yet another GED RLA screencast. The topic of this lesson is capitalization. If you find this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. It helps us to help more people like you. And let's dive right in. First, let's have a vocabulary refresher. Proper nouns refer to more specific people, places, things, rather than discussing a whole class of things, like day or toothpaste. They talk about something in particular, like Saturday or Colgate. Common nouns are more general. They don't refer to any single specific thing in particular, but rather they are used in a more general sense, such as day or toothpaste works here. For an example, Quentin slept through his alarm clock and missed 3 of his classes for the day. As you can see, there's a bit of a mess going on in here. You can't quite identify what is a common noun and a proper noun, and it's just a mess. And that is why we have to make sure that we're using capitalization rules in the right way, so that we could tell what is specific and what's not quite specific, the same way that it works here. Let's look at this sentence. When Jim decided to open a bank account with some money his aunt had given him, he looked for a bank that was both open on Saturdays and located close to his home. Looking in the phone book's yellow pages, he discovered First Continental Bank had a branch near his house on Olive Street. His Aunt Millie's check was large enough for him to open the account and still have some extra cash to buy A Tale of Two Cities, the book he needed for his French Revolution, for his class on French Revolution. At the bank, he was assisted by Mr. Collier, an account clerk. You see that words that name specific people or places are capitalized, while more general words are not. We learned that Jim received money from his aunt, which could be any of his aunts. Later in the paragraph, we learned that the money came from Aunt Millie. In this sentence, aunt is part of someone's name. It refers to a specific person here. Aunt Millie. This is now part of her name. It refers to a specific person, so it must be capitalized. Jim was assisted by an account clerk, there, and which could be any unnamed clerk. But the writer could have said Jim was assisted by account clerk Collier. And that would be in capital letters if it were written that way. However, this now describes Mr. Collier, and thus his title is Mr. So we capitalize titles. So if this were account clerk Collier, this would be capitalized. Moving on. Here is a little bit of work for you to do. Again, if you've been here before, you can just pause the video and try to answer the questions below or on the screen and find out which words or letters need to be capitalized to make these sentences correct. All right. If you guessed or answered D for doctor has to be capitalized, then you are correct. Everything else in this sentence is all right. Next, we heard a deputy sheriff at the July meeting. Deputy sheriff has to be in capital letters, and July has to be in capital letters as well. The governor answered questions for more than an hour. Governor doesn't have to be capitalized in here because it's not pertaining to anyone in particular at the moment. That is wrong because this has to be capitalized. I just noticed that it says the in here. So that is one specific person, doesn't have to have a name. That is, we already know, or the person who would be reading, who has a governor, would already know that the governor that is being pertained to is the specific governor that's being talked about in this question. Ryan likes old movies. His favorite is Casablanca. The only word that needs to be capitalized in here is Casablanca, or the letter C for Casablanca. There you go. Chidori speaks several languages, including Japanese, English, and French. As you probably already know, all languages need to be in capital letters. So Japanese, J, E for English, and F for French have to be in capital letters. All right. Moving on, here's a couple more questions. Let's begin here. Our legislator is Senator Sperling. He shows a genuine interest in his constituents. Every month he sends out a newsletter and a questionnaire to survey voters' opinions on several issues. He occasionally holds meetings at a public library. Last month, he spoke about healthcare at the Brownsville Public Library. This is one politician who understands the need for voters to be informed. He wants to keep in touch with the people. Sentence 1. Our legislator is Senator Sperling. What correction should be made to this sentence? Take a minute. Try to answer it by yourself. Put us on pause and try to figure it out. No Googling. Alright. The answer here is number 3. Change senator to senator with a capital S. Why? As we discussed here, where is that? His Aunt Millie's check. This is now part of the person's title, so we put a capital letter on that instead of how it was here. Where is that? There you go. Here. So it could be any of his aunts, and now it's a specific aunt, which is Aunt Millie. Same goes here. Senator Sperling is his title, so this is the right answer. Here's another one. Last month, he spoke about healthcare at the Brownsville Public Library. Take a second. And if you guessed this to be the right answer, then you are correct, because public library is a part of Brownsville Public Library, the name Brownsville Public Library. There you have it. Here are some rules to remember. Some words are always capitalized, such as names of people and places. For example, Shirley Chisholm and John F. Kennedy, Lincoln Center, Museum of Modern Art, or the Grand Canyon. Titles of works, such as books, movies, and paintings, as well, need to always be in capital letters. For Whom the Bell Tolls, The Witches of Eastwick, Jurassic Park, Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. However, before we move on to the next one, prepositions fewer than 5 letters in titles, unless they are the first or last word of the title, need not be in capital letters. Alright. Names of streets, cities, states, and countries. They live in the United States at 555 Elm Street, Montgomery, Alabama. Next. Titles of people, such as Dr. Robert, Mayor Wallace, Princess Diana, Aunt Ethel, and the President of the United States. If you remember Aunt Millie, and then the title, the President of the United States. Clearly, there's only one President of the United States. It can't be more specific than that, unless you have the name in. Days of the week, months, and holidays, but not seasons. The third Saturday in August is when we begin our vacation every summer, and we return after Labor Day. So summer, winter, fall, and spring, or autumn, for fall, need not be in capital letters. Historic eras or events, the Renaissance, World War II, the Stone Age need to be in capital letters. Languages or nationalities, he speaks Spanish and loves Mexican food, and so do I. Direction words, when used as the name of a place. They moved to the west, or our cousins live in Northern Ireland. You do not need to capitalize directions when they are used to describe something. For example, the southern side of the house needs shade, or their house faces east. Here's another couple of questions for you. So we've actually done this. Here's another one. Sentence 2, some, like Yellowstone, cover territory in more than one state. What correction, this is the wrong one. What correction should be made to this sentence? Yellowstone need to be in capital letter, as you might have guessed. Sentence 4, for example, the Great Smoky Mountains are the largest eastern mountain range. Take a bit of time. And if you guessed number 5 is the right answer, then you are correct, because this doesn't need to be in capital letters because they are not quite specific. However, the Great Smoky Mountains are specific. These could be any mountain range. Here is your specific mountain range. Mountains, yes. California's Yosemite National Park is famous for having the nation's highest waterfall. If you think this is the right answer, then you are correct. As we talked about earlier, California's Yosemite National Park is the name of the park, so that has to be in capital letters. Mammoth Cave in Kentucky has 144 miles of underground passages. Take a bit of time. All right, number 2 is the right answer. Again, the name of the cave is Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, has 144 miles of underground passages. And that's it. This has been Teacher Sarah. Thanks again for joining us, and make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if you like this video or find it useful, and have a good day.